That wasn't loud. Ow. What's up, family? I'm Caleb, and I am so excited, if you couldn't already tell from how I slammed the table, that you're here today. Today is all about encouraging you to see that you're not too young to do really important things, like have a faith of your own, or make a difference in this world, or be an example to others. One thing you need to know about me is that I really love middle schoolers. In my opinion, middle schoolers are like the coolest humans on the planet. And not only are they the coolest, they're really funny too. It reminds me of a time when I was working at a summer camp, right? And so I was going out to free time to play some field games with sixth graders. And the sixth grader walks up to me, he goes, "Yo, Caleb, dance competition." And I'm like, "Bro, you're about to get embarrassed, right?" So I'm like out here like, I did not do that. I just can't remember what dance move I did. So I'm like out there, I'm giving it my all, right? Like just going, right? And then this kid is standing there. I'm done. I finished whatever I was doing. Kid's standing there. He goes, "My turn." Has his water bottle, drops his water bottle, takes a step back, does a backflip, and then just like stares at me. And I'm like, "Bro, what? Like, what? How long have you been able to do a backflip?" He was like, "I just found out today." Working with middle schoolers is most definitely fun, exciting, and even a little unpredictable at times. And you know what? That's why I love it. And I'm not the only one. I've talked to a few of my friends, and they all agree that middle schoolers are awesome. You don't believe me? Let me prove it to you.
What's up, Caleb? I think middle schoolers are the best because they're the ones that really know how to have fun.
I think middle schoolers are the best because they are absolutely hilarious. Like, I can't stop laughing when I'm around them.
I think middle schoolers are the best because they ask literally the best questions.
See what I mean? Each and every one of my friends think you're all amazing, funny, smart, and capable of doing really big things because you truly are. Now, unfortunately, other people don't always see that same potential in you that we do. I know hearing that might be surprising for some of you. You might not know anyone who feels that way toward middle schooler. Most of the adults in your life believe you're ready to make a difference right now. If that's you, that's amazing. But stick with me because I think what we're talking about today is still important for you to hear. Some of you might know adults who think middle schoolers are lazy or immature or disrespectful or just too young to really do anything important. If you feel frustrated about that, I am right there with you. It seems unfair that people assume that about you because of your age, because you know your potential. You know what you're capable of doing and becoming in life. You know you're ready to make a difference. And when other people in your life don't believe you can, well, that can make you mad. So what do? Stay frustrated about it? Try to ignore it? Just give up trying to make a difference right now? Not quite. I want you to stick with me again because I know of two guys who found a great way to deal with this feeling. Their names were Paul and Timothy. Paul and Timothy. They were leaders in the Christian faith who worked together a long time ago to spread the message of Jesus after his death and resurrection. Paul and Timothy did this because they understood that knowing Jesus changes everything. Now, because Paul was older and wiser, he wrote letters to his young friend Timothy. And at the time, Timothy was around some older people who were acting in a way that wasn't all that great. What I love about this letter we're about to read is that Paul didn't just tell Timothy to get over it. Instead, Paul acknowledged that people around him were acting poorly. People were teaching things that just weren't true. So, Paul challenged Timothy to stay focused on what was true. No matter what anyone else was doing, Paul wanted Timothy to choose a different way. Here's what Paul said. "Timothy, guard what has been entrusted to your care." So right away, Paul was encouraging Timothy to protect the big job that he'd been trusted with, which was spreading the message of Jesus. Even at his age, which was younger than Paul, Timothy was ready to make a difference. And Paul wanted him to know he believed the difference Timothy could make was a big one. Then Paul went on to say this: "Turn away from godless chatter and the opposing idea of what is falsely called knowledge." Paul was basically saying this to Timothy. Listen, you can't choose how other people behave. You can't decide what they think about you or how they treat you. You can't control if someone gossips about you. You can't control what other people think or do or say, but you can control yourself. You can control the way you respond. See, Timothy had been trusted with a big responsibility to spread the message of Jesus to others. So he had to live in a way that showed he took that responsibility seriously. In order to do that, Paul encouraged Timothy to focus on his own actions, no matter what was going on around him. Instead of behaving like others and giving into godless chatter or the untrue teaching that isn't helpful and doesn't build people up, Paul wanted Timothy to focus on what he could control, his actions. Because here's what Paul also knew: distractions were always gonna be there. There's always gonna be something trying to pull our attention away from where God wants us to focus. That's why Paul made a point to tell Timothy to turn away from the things that might distract him. And that's exactly what we need to do too. Instead of focusing our attention or thoughts on the people who don't believe in us or discourage us, we can choose to focus on ourselves. We can choose to be different. We can choose to believe that we're not too young for our actions to matter. Now, I know that might sound like a difficult thing to do, but remember, you have adults in your life who know you're capable of so much more than many people give you credit for. You can do so much more than some people might believe. You are ready to make a difference right now, right where you are as middle schoolers. And that can start by choosing to tune out what you can't control and focus on what you can, your actions. To help us, let's look at another verse. It's what Paul reminded Timothy about being young, and it's the same truth I think we need to remember too. Actually, I have an idea. Time out. Hold on. Let's read it out loud together, right where you are. Read this with me. Ready? Don't let anyone think less of you because you are young. Be an example to all believers in what you say, in the way you live, in your love, your faith, and your purity. When you're tempted to believe the things other people say about you, I want to challenge you to believe that verse instead. Try to memorize it. Keep it with you in your heart and mind. Let it remind you of what Paul reminded Timothy, to not let anyone look down on you because of your age, to be an example to everyone, even to those older than you, in the way you talk, behave, love others, love Jesus, and live your life, to believe that your actions really matter. This verse from Paul reminds us of what's true. We may not be able to choose what others think about us, but we can choose to not give it power. Ooh, time out. You may have missed it the first time. Let me say it again. We may not be able to choose what others think about us, but we can choose not to give it power. We can choose to focus on our own actions and use them to set an example for others, because you are not too young for your actions to matter. Can you imagine what might happen if you started living in a way that set an example for everyone? If you chose to believe that what you do right now as a middle schooler can make a really big difference in the world no matter what anyone else says? Here are 3 steps I want to challenge you to take this week. First, think about your actions. Start with thinking about your last week. Have you been disrespectful towards others, or selfish about something, or lazy when it comes to your responsibilities? If we're being honest, I think everyone could answer yes to some of these questions. Think about the way your actions may not be setting the right example to others. Ask God to help you change that behavior going forward. Ask God to help you see that your actions matter. Next, think about the kind of person you want to be. In other words, what's something you want to be known for when other people think of you? Right now, maybe your actions don't really match up with the kind of person you want to be. The good news is, you get to decide that. You can choose to be a person that sets an example with the way you act and respond toward others. Then, think about how you get there. What do you need to do to be the kind of person you want to be? Maybe you need to create an action plan for the next time someone gossips about you, or upsets you, or leaves you out. It could be as simple as stopping to take a breath before you respond, or choosing to walk away instead of getting involved, or asking God for patience to help you. Think about the small steps you can take to help you become the person you want to be. Now, pause, listen, time out. I know this may sound hard for some of you. I know taking responsibility for your actions can be a really difficult thing to do. It can be especially difficult when you know it still may not change the way other people think about you. But the good news is, you don't have to do this on your own. Your group leader not only wants to help you, but they believe you are capable of so much more than you might get credit for. They know you're ready to make a difference right now, right where you are. They believe you're not too young for your actions to matter. And today, I want to encourage you to believe that too.